My wife and I met in 2006, moved in together the same year, married in 2010. She had an affair that started in January of 2015 and ended roughly February of 2016. She ended it on her own. I found out on April 3rd of 2016 purely by mistake. She had left her laptop on when she left for work, open to FB Messenger, where she was talking to someone about it. Needless to say, I was crushed. We both worked for the same company, and her AP was also an employee there. I worked out of our main office, while my wife worked at an off-site location, and her AP worked roughly half his time at the office and split his time off-site. One thing that I also want to mention is that he pursued my wife for well over a year. He knew she was married and knew I was her husband. Wife reported him multiple times to HR for sexual harassment, as his advances were unwanted. HR reported, and as I was in management, I got to see these reports, that there was no clear evidence and/or witnesses, so this came down to her word against his, and they felt he was more believable. His advances got insane. In the months prior to the affair, she told me once he was twisting her words and said that if her only excuse for not doing it was that she was married, that in her heart she must want it too. When I found out, my wife was able to pinpoint the exact start of the affair to a confusing week. It was a week that in our extended family, there was a tragedy, and all us adults took off work for a week, and we all pulled the kids out of school for a week, and all rallied together to support each other. She said she slipped away at one point, and that's when it started. I have run that whole week through my head so many times, and I cannot think of a single moment she wasn't with us. She and I pretty much were with all the kids most of that week, or with her brother and all the kids. How she managed to slip away and back as well beyond my scope. I guess it shows how people who really want to get away with it. Anyway, like I said above, she ended it on her own well before I found out about it. In the aftermath of D-Day, I went through her laptop. I don't know what I think would be helpful to find. Roughly the week of Valentine's Day, she made multiple searches of varying wording of how to have sex with a small penis, including one search that specified 3-inch penis. I also discovered she had run a background check on the guy. Weird, right? Then some really childish searches of her sign and his sign, etc. D-Day resulted in a long conversation. She admitted to it. She made many excuses, and I'm not going to list them here as it's really not important. She then told me if I wanted a divorce, she would understand. I stated I did not. She then said that she didn't want me to stay if it was only for our son. She said she would rather co-parent as a separate couple if I was going to be resentful and/or hateful with her while under one roof. I told her I still loved her, that I was just hurt and confused by her actions. I ended up taking a full week off of work. When I returned, I shared with my office mate what had happened, and she went and confronted wife's AP. I had no clue, but my office mate had also slept with him. He blew up over me talking about it. He started texting my wife, calling her all kinds of names, telling her she was stupid and really treating her like shit. He then told her she screwed up royally. He proceeded to tell me their sex life had never been any of my business in the first place, that they were two consenting adults, and I had no business knowing about it. He then texted her again and told her if I kicked her out not to come running, as he had no intention of letting her move in. Great guy, right? Not that it matters at all about the conversation, but office mate confided in me that the Google search I found in wife's laptop about small penis was not only accurate, but an understatement. She claims he was so small she couldn't feel if it was even in. Doesn't make anything any better at all. Maybe even makes it worse to know my wife was getting apparently bad sex and still keeping that up behind my back. Also, I don't think it's important, but I would like to mention the AP started to try intimidation tactics at work. He would park next to me. We worked on different floors, but he would come to my floor and just pace back and forth in front of my office. One day our office assistant was out sick, and I was sitting at her desk to answer phones, and he came and sat in a chair in front of the desk and would not move. My direct supervisor went to the AP supervisor and said AP was not to be on our floor again, and if their department had business on my floor, that another staff would need to conduct said business. Also, in the aftermath of D-Day, my wife's entire family turned their back on her. Each adult sibling, plus her parents, told her that if I kicked her out, they would not provide her a place to stay, nor would any help her out financially if she was stuck without me. Between her AP telling her to stay away, and her family turning their backs, I think she learned very much that her choices may have consequences she hadn't thought of. In the meantime, her parents told me they respected me very much and would be there for anything I needed. Anyway, I told you all above that D-Day we had a long talk, and she offered that if I wanted a divorce, she would understand. She even went so far as to say she wouldn't contest anything and would make the process easy on me. I knew I didn't want that. I think the fact that I saw my parents separate, then divorce, and neither was happy just kind of showed me one side of things. I didn't want that for me. I still loved her. I was just upset with the circumstances. I knew she couldn't undo what she did, but I trusted that things could get better. One thing that helped me out that day was that she had ended it on her own. I think if it was still going on when I found out, that maybe I would have needed to do more thinking. But the fact that she felt bad enough to end it on her own made me comfortable that there was still a future for us. I hurt so much though, and I was so confused. I couldn't understand why I wasn't enough. I was even more confused at who she ended up with. The same guy she filed multiple complaints against at work? It made no sense. Oh, also in the aftermath. Wife was already unpopular with the girls in her department, but after that they painted her like the company W. She ended up leaving our company for another job to get away from the office gossip. The past 8, getting closer to 9 years since I found out, have been without hiccup. She has given me no reason to suspect anything is wrong. In fact, I feel that at the moment, if anything, we are closer than we've been in most of our relationship. I work overnight, so we don't sleep together at night. But since May, she has been out of work on a workers' comp injury, so she's home all the time. Meaning that currently we get to have lunch together every day. I come home and take a nap, and when I wake up, she's there. We talk, we do our errands together, I drive her to and from her appointments. It's great. We've always enjoyed each other's company, but the past several months we've been able to spend more quality time together than at any other point in our relationship, and I have really enjoyed this. I don't like that she's injured, she had to have back surgery, and now she moves slow. When we do grocery shopping, she can't always lift everything such as milk. She relies more on me. However, the past month since she's been home feels almost like we got a fresh start with each other. If that makes sense? However, feelings have been coming back. And this started about 2 months ago. I saw a post on Ask Reddit where someone who had been cheated on asked was reconciliation possible. I responded with how my wife and I were 8 years since D-Day and going strong. I also added that it wasn't easy. As to be expected from Reddit, I got jumped on by trolls. I had one guy tell me, "Too bad you like being cheated on." Multiple people told me I just had not caught her yet and that she's obviously still at it. I had multiple people tell me it's not too late to divorce her over it. Not one of those people are in my shoes and can evaluate what goes on in my relationship, you know? But somehow these hurtful things from strangers have started to chip away at my feelings. I know it shouldn't, but now a few months after this interaction, I am left feeling all those feelings of hurt and confusion all over again. 8 years later, and she's done nothing in that time to make me distrust her. Yet I'm once again asking myself why she ever did it in the first place. I'm feeling heartache over it again. I feel like D-Day all over again. I'm back to that confusion and just not understanding her choice. I knew 8 years ago I would never forget this, but I honestly thought I was through questioning it a long time ago. Should I talk to her about my feelings? I feel like she's going to feel attacked if I bring this up again now after 8 years. 8 years. She's done nothing to make me distrust her. So what can be gained by bringing it up? But I feel like if I don't talk to her, it's going to just eat at me. I'm so torn. Is this at all normal? Has anyone else gone through similar feelings after so many years?